All right, hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with, back again, Jeffrey Meyer. He's below me on the screen if you're watching video. Matty B is back. He's up in the top right. And once again, we have Rick David on. He's in the bottom right. So a little bit of shuffling around with the windows here. But we should be up. Everything should be going here. If there's any glitches, it's the first time we've ever had 4 people on. So please ignore those. Going to kick it off right now. I'm going to try to start each week by doing like a new hot topic type segment. I don't have a name for it yet. But I think earlier today, the Boston Celtics traded away Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, a European guy, and a first-round pick for Kyrie Irving, which makes no sense to me and makes me feel like the NBA is definitely rigged. There's no reason to watch any games now. The Celtics were the only team that could compete against the Cavaliers. They basically just lost their depth and their future with the first-round pick, and there's no reason for it. So, I don't know. That's my hot topic. We'll go around, and you guys can either comment on that or bring up your own thing. Go ahead, Jeff. You can kick it off.
Yeah, feeding off what you said, this makes no sense if you're the Celtics. You basically just gave the East to LeBron and the Cavs. I agree with you. Someone has something out there invested in LeBron as far as getting back to the championship. So basically, there's no reason to watch this upcoming season. It's going to be the Cavs and Golden State in the finals again. There's no one in the East that can challenge LeBron and the Cavs at this point. You know, it's a solid switch for Isaiah and Kyrie. They both are similar players and will give similar production. But now the Cavs have the depth to go back to the finals again. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Rick, go ahead. What are your thoughts or hot topic for the week?
I don't understand the Celtics trade at all. You're pretty much just handing the East to the Cavs. And again, I have to agree with Jeff. Why watch the games, especially in the East? I mean, it's the Cavs versus everybody, and the Cavs look like the dominant team. I don't get it. I don't get the NBA. There's like 4 teams now. It's like super teams, and it's a bunch of other teams. So if you're in cities like Portland and in Atlanta, why the heck show up? I want to love to hear anybody. You could send a comment to my Twitter if you want to say, hey, I'm from Atlanta, I have season tickets. I would love to know the answer why. The other thing was, I just read it right before we got on air, a gentleman by the name of Robert Lee, who's an announcer for ESPN, has been suspended and not doing the football games because of his name. Robert Lee has nothing to do with what's happening in the world, but they're not going to use him in broadcast. Makes no sense. I guess if his name was Ulysses S. Grant, he would be cool. The 18th president, I guess he's cool. Robert Lee, not a president, not cool. I'm done now. You guys go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Matt.
Well, see, the thing that you're forgetting is that you got to trust the process. So it didn't matter what Boston was going to do. The East runs through Philadelphia. With drafting, they finally won the lottery. They got Markelle Fultz. They got the comeback player of the year, Embiid. What else are you asking for? You clearly know that they got the youth. They finally got that point guard shooter that's going to ball out. It goes through Philly now.
Well,
the washed up Cavs.
To be honest,
they just don't have it.
Right now it's looking like the Phillies or the 76ers in the future. The Celtics had it, and they're trading away their key pieces. I don't get it. There's no reason for it. So it's like taking your team and kind of turning it into a win now mode. I mean, it's not like Kyrie hasn't been hurt before. So I just don't get it, and it just makes me not want to tune in. And I like the Celtics, and I thought they were positioned for the future. And of course, it's going to be tough to beat LeBron, but at least give hope in the years LeBron's not going to play forever. By trading away first-round picks and everything else, it doesn't make any sense. So,
well, if you remember also, he also gave a bunch of picks and stuff away to the 76ers in deals in the past, and he's not very good as a GM and as far as making trades and doing the things that he needs to do to help his franchise. He helps everyone else, but it seems like he hasn't gotten the moves to go his way yet.
Well, the best move he had was the Nets. He got like 2 first-round picks from the Nets. They've lined up, and it's been like solid. He just needs to stay the course. There's no reason. It's August. Why make this trade now? Wait till the season starts, see something. I mean, if anything, why trade him at all? Was he afraid Kyrie's going to go somewhere? Their locker room was going to be a mess, and he just bailed them out. Like, how are the Cavs, if they're fighting in the locker room, going to make a run in the playoffs? But Danny Ainge is like, we'll take that cancer. Go ahead. We'll give you some guys that a Jay Crowder who can spell LeBron and get his own shot. Basically giving them a backup LeBron for nothing. So it's like he's setting them up for, I don't know, maybe it's NBA directed. They wanted more of a finals matchup, someone to compete, because without this trade, the Cavs had no depth. No one really thought they were going to beat the Warriors this year anyway. I mean, you can kind of tune in. I wonder what the line's going to be. But I don't know. I don't like talking basketball, especially whenever football season's so close. But I had to bring that up. That's what pissed me off this week. Also, Jeff, I have to respond to you calling me out. I can't put the Pirates at half-mast because the Pirates, no one in their division is separating away from them. It's like a complete shit show in the NL Central. The Cardinals, you would think they could have took a lead and then they're losing a series to the Pirates. What the hell? Matt, any comments on that?
The Rally Cat died. The Rally Cat died. So they're 5-5 over the last 10. It's just a limping dog. We're just waiting to see who's going to limp to win the division.
That's what it is. And the thing is, the Pirates have 2 series with the Cubs. If they lose this first series, I'll put the flag at half-mast. I'll wave the white flag. Whatever you want me to do, like the Pirates. I'm thinking they're done right now. They're playing the Dodgers, but again, they played to the level of their competition. I think they went into extras last night and lost. And tonight, they were in a 5-5 deadlock. It looks like the Dodgers just scored another run here. So they're going to be down 1. All it takes is them to keep playing. I think Pirates are 10-10 right now in August. Just keep playing 500 ball and then win a series against the Cubs. And that 6-game lead might chip down to 3 or 4 games. And they're able to make a push in September again. Because no one is separating themselves. But I don't know. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Listen, put a fork in the Pirates. They're done. They're back 7 games on the Cubs. They're not going to take 2 series from the Cubs. It's over. The Cubs are going to win this division. The Cardinals maybe have an outside chance, but sorry, Matty, they're stumbled to the finish too. So I say the Cubs have the division. I'm not really sure what the wild card looks like, but are the Brewers going to make the wild card? I'm not really sure. It's going to be 2 teams in the West, right?
It is going to be 2 teams in the West, something I predicted wouldn't happen, and it's happening.
Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, the Pirates are done. You might as well put that flag down because their season's over. At least we got the Steelers coming up here. At least something we can actually root for.
Rick, you have any thoughts on the Pirates before we start talking about the Steelers?
I said it on August 1st that this was going to be the team where they're going to make it or break it, get anybody in trades. They got Joaquin Benoit, who is now on the disabled list. So now for 10 days they don't have him. So 7.5 back, 4th place. They're in 4th place on August 1st. 3 wins out of their last 10 games. And, I mean, lucky enough the Giants and Padres aren't on the schedule anymore this year, or they would definitely be out after losing, 8 out of 10 to those 2 teams that are definitely trying to figure out who's the worst team in the league. So, I mean, I don't think they're doing it. They don't have much. They're called up 3 pitchers today out of AAA, so that tells you what they're doing. I mean, it's just bad right now. And I didn't trust the bullpen then on August 1st. I trust it even less now.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what they're in. They're in the bullpen right now at 6-5 with a bunch of guys pitching.
Yeah, and that's what's going to kill them. And they never make any moves for pitching. And whenever they get some prospects, they end up trading them away anyway. So they're like, I don't know. They need a mutiny. And people need to come on and get a leader that's going to actually lead the team instead of lying and saying that the owner is going to pay for talent, and then he never pays for it. I mean, I'll call him out. If you're going to come into the public and say that you're going to make the player's salary match the revenue, and then the revenue comes and you don't, and you can't complain now about fan support. You cannot. Because the fan support was there. You lied. You lied. I mean, you made the statement saying that you were going to match player salary with the revenue. Revenue went up. Player salary, still cutting players, still making trades, and now look at it. Attendance is horrible. The Pirates, I mean, the only thing that would have saved them this year is a run, and they're limping to the finish. So
See, that's the problem, too. They had the pieces a couple years ago. They had the coach they finally wanted, and they wouldn't pay anyone. They didn't keep anyone around. I remember when I was in college, everyone was so excited for the Pirates. Everyone kept saying, this is the year, made the playoffs finally, had winning seasons. They never paid anyone. And now look at, like, their time is over. Like, you know, I mean, you have a few years there where they could have capitalized, and it's over now. They didn't pay anyone. Shame on them. You know, because Pittsburgh wanted it. The fans showed up. The upper management they fell through. They didn't do what they needed to.
Hey, they can always piggyback on the success of the Steelers and Penguins, so they have that going for them.
That's what fans have to do. I mean, when you have great owners, you got to stick with them. And we'll go ahead and kick off our NFL preseason Week 2 recap. Jeff, you can actually kick this one off. You attended the Steelers game this past week. What did you see?
So first and foremost, James Conner, he can run the ball. I was a little worried, you know, he's a pit boy. I was a little worried his transition to the NFL, but, you know, he saw the holes, made the appropriate cuts. I really liked his running style this weekend. I saw a lot out of him. Unfortunately, though, the biggest thing I noticed was 3 huge drops. One was on a 3rd down and short. Dobbs was rolling out right. Dumped it to him. He went to make a one-handed catch, started running before he caught it. That was pretty bad. Those are the kind of catches in the NFL you have to make because that extends a drive. He had 2 other bad drops, but I really liked his, you know, the way he ran the ball.
Are you guys there? I might have lost the guys on the stream.
He wasn't.
Go ahead, Jeff.
But, you know, talking about Cockrell, though, he wasn't covering anyone. He's supposed to be our starting corner. What was he doing? He was getting burned all, you know, by second team guys getting burned all day. You know, that was, as a Steeler fan, I know you don't have your core front 7 in there, but your starting corner, one-on-one, getting beat like a dog, can't have that. Not at all. But I saw some good things. Dobb didn't really impress me. Hate to say it. I was looking for a little more after the first game. But my big thing is I saw James Conner's running the ball well. He should be able to spell Le'Veon Bell this year. And I was really disappointed with our secondary on defense because we had, you know, starters out there in the secondary. But I'm not sure what you guys saw, but that's what I saw.
All right, we'll go around. Rick, you have any thoughts?
From what I saw, Matt Ryan still looks good. So he could still pass and find his targets and is still good. So I don't know what happened in the Super Bowl, but he's still looking good right now. So, you know, and he beat some first, like Jeff was saying, he beat some of the first stringers on passes. So, I mean, that's going to prove something. He's still looking good. The Falcons are still a good team. So, I mean, they went against a good preseason team at home. So, but, I mean, Dobbs is disappointing. Maybe they reached for him, but I think there's a question mark still with Landry Jones and Dobbs. Or what if Big Ben gets hurt? Again, these guys had the chance. Dobbs, I think I would say it was a pass-fail test. He failed again. So I don't know. Are the Steelers going to look somewhere else to find the backup quarterback? Or are they going to say, let's cross our fingers and hope Big Ben plays 16 games, which he doesn't do much in his career right now. So,
Matt, you have any thoughts?
Definitely. I think the more that we try to analyze this quarterback situation, the more we need to just relax. Because when you look at the way the final score, we won. We won 17-13. So that's the bottom line. I mean, regardless of if it's Dobbs, if it's Houston, if it's Landry Jones, if it's someone they pick up in the parking lot, all they have to do is not turn the ball over. I mean, when you have Connor who's rushing almost 5 yards a carry, you just feed him the rock and let him run with it. I was actually surprised watching the game to see the difference. He definitely lost a good bit of weight from his days at Pitt, and it didn't look like with him losing that weight that it affected his style of play, because I thought, with losing over 15 pounds that he might not be able to be as physical, but it definitely looked like he was able to handle the carries and the workload that he would have to be a successful running back. The other thing that I thought, it's ironic that, after a 20 carry, 98-yard performance, the rumors now is Le'Veon Bell is going to sign his franchise tag and get his butt into camp. So if for nothing else, he proved that with that rookie salary, he's going to motivate Le'Veon Bell to get his butt in there and start working with the team. So I think that that's going to be something positive looking forward. Plus the defense, for as tough as they are, you don't have to have an outstanding quarterback right now. We can rely on the defense with the pressure that they're getting. If they can keep that pressure up, they should be just fine.
Yeah, looking at my notes here, I had the same things on the secondary. Just looking at the starters for the Steelers, that was awful. The Falcons basically shredded them. I mean, Matt Ryan looked good. He looks like he's driven. I saw that, was it a Gatorade commercial or Nike commercial? They had some commercial that Matt Ryan was a star of about losers and how losers work hard or something. So maybe he's out working hard. Not sure if he's getting distracted by doing those losing commercials. I don't know if I'd want my name associated with that. But he was out there. He looks sharp. Steelers secondary looks awful. And again, we talked about it in the spring when they did the draft. They didn't address their needs. Just picking up random dudes to try to make the offense better. Maybe you just need to outscore everyone. I don't know. I had notes on James Conner, kind of similar to what Matt said about him losing weight. I thought he was going to be bigger and more powerful. Looking at his cuts, he doesn't have the breakaway speed. You would think with him losing weight, he would be faster. I think his ceiling right now, it's not bad. He reminded me of sort of Jerome Bettis. That would be his peak to me, which isn't bad. Jerome Bettis is a Hall of Fame running back. Jerome never had the top speed. He wasn't going to break away. He possibly have some long runs, but he was perfect at making the cut. He could make the cut and get you 3 to 5 yards and get to the second level. That's what Conner showed me. Again, he's playing against pretty much scrubs on the other team late into the game. Is he going to be able to make those cuts against first teamers? I don't know. Is he going to have the speed against first teamers? I don't think so. And if he's going to drop passes, that's going to hurt, because the Steelers right now rely on running backs who can catch the ball and make a move out of the backfield. So I don't want to say that I was a little soured on him. He did look like he could make some cuts. I don't want to say that he's going to be on that Jerome Bettis level, but that would be his ceiling if he keeps working on. I'd actually like to see him put some weight back on if he is going to play that style of make a first cut and then plow ahead for 3 to 5 yards. I think that's his game. And yeah, bulk back up, because losing the weight didn't help your speed. So go ahead. You're quick enough to make that first cut. That's my thoughts on that. We'll go back around, talk a little bit more about any other preseason game you guys can talk about. We're going to try to expand it outside of just Steelers and draw in some outsiders, because we've had some good feedback from fans of the Vikings and other teams. Falcons, we had some people from Georgia on. So we're going to expand it. One team I saw were the Browns. I know they're getting all kind of media attention for kneeling or sitting during the national anthem, which I'm not even going to talk about, because to me that's not sports news. But they have been winning in the preseason. So I think in a few years, that's going to be scary for the Steelers. I hate to see the Browns building enough depth. Blah, I can't even read my notes. Building up enough depth to go ahead and win in the preseason. They haven't been able to win any time throughout the past couple of years, and now they're getting in that young talent that's hungry. Like they look
obviously
like
you ain't listening to our podcast, dog. I talked about a couple weeks ago. I told you they're in contention.
Yeah, but the Browns all hype every year. Everyone always hypes up Cleveland for no reason.
I told you. Myles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, they got players on all three levels, on the front four, the linebackers, and the secondary.
Yeah, they do have some players, so I'm a little worried there because this could be the year where the Browns do step up. I had them low on my list, but just looking around our division, Ravens didn't show me much. The Bengals, I don't know. So it looks like the Browns could be, and if Ben goes down, like Rick mentioned, it's over. The Steelers you can't compete with no Ben Roethlisberger in a secondary that's going to get shredded. But around the league, the other thing I wanted to mention before I'll let you guys go was Odell Beckham took a shot in the knee, which was a perfect tackle. And I watched the replay a good 5 times because I like to hear the announcers talk about it. They were like trying to find something wrong with the tackle. At first, they were like, well, that could be an illegal hit. And then they were like, well, he did hit him in the thigh. And then they were like, well, let's look at the rule book. And they kind of talked themselves around how it was a perfect tackle. That's what the NFL wants. They don't want headshots anymore. They're going to get knee shots instead, which, is worse, I would imagine, for a star player's career. So Odell, he's out there. Another reason just to get rid of these preseason games. That's all I'm going to say on that. So go ahead. We'll keep going the same way. Jeff, you can go ahead.
Yes, I'm glad you. I just want to add to that point, actually. I'm glad you brought it up. I saw a tweet by Ross Tucker. He's a former NFL player, does his own, I forget what his show's called, but he has a show. And I saw his tweet. He's like, people said it was a dirty hit, but at the end of the day, what else are you supposed to do in the NFL? That's a textbook tackle by their standards.
My favorite
Didn't go
tweet.
high.
Sorry to interrupt you, but my favorite tweet I saw was that hit was Josh Norman's wet dream.
That's a good tweet. But just add what the Ross Tucker said. He's like, this is the preseason. This is that guy who tackled him. This is his Super Bowl. He's a guy who got previously cut by another team. He's just trying to make an income and a living. He's got to go out there. He's got to ball out like it's a Super Bowl. And sorry that, Odell Beckham's out there playing when he shouldn't be. It's just like Michael Vick a couple years ago, back in 05 or something like that. He shouldn't have been out there playing. Ben Roethlisberger, have you seen him take a snap yet? No. You shouldn't have your best players out there. It's preseason. No one cares. Honestly, that's the one thing I want to bring up too. Like you guys are saying about Cleveland winning 2 games. Who cares? It's the preseason. Like if anything, you want to, analyze and look at what your players are doing. But as a team, like winning, it doesn't really mean much. At the end of the year, if you go 4-0 in the preseason or 0-4, guess what? It doesn't affect your chance to get in the playoffs. So why even have any, your Odell Beckhams, your Ben Roethlisbergers, your Aaron Rodgers? Why have them out there? It's silly. It's absurd, honestly. Sorry, I just wanted to rant about that a little bit. But people are calling that, that hit, that tackle dirty. What else are you supposed to do? Where are you going to hit them? Other than right in the belly button, you can't go high.
Rick, what are your thoughts?
The way I'm thinking about the Giants is right now you have Beckham injured and Marshall injured. This was a team I liked on paper coming into this year because they had a lot of offensive weapons that could get it done in that division. Now you got 2 of pretty much of your top weapons are now out. So I know it's the preseason. I know they got time to get healthy, but these could be lingering injuries that they have all season, and this could affect this team making a good run for it. And they need to make a good run, especially in their division, which is probably one of the toughest to go through. I also, one of my points I had was the Browns going 2-0. But I will say this for the Browns. This is a team where there's open spots. There's going to be open spots where players are going to fight to get starting jobs and backup jobs. This is a team that's a lot of teams approved, and this is a team that had a lot of picks that are going to help them out. I do, and I know Matt and I, when we were talking about it, I kind of agreed with them. This is a team, give them a couple years to figure it out. My question still on them is the quarterback. I think that's what's going to hurt them this whole entire year. They don't have the Big Ben. They don't have Aaron Rodgers. They don't have Tom Brady. And it may take them a while until they draft that guy to get them. And the other thing is good old Bill O'Brien. Tom Savage is our starter. Congratulations, Tom Savage. Great work. You drafted Deshaun you drafted the kid from Clemson who I'm blanking his name on now.
Deshaun Watson.
Watson. You draft Watson. Okay, great. We got Tom Savage.
How do you even
Good
think
luck to you, Houston.
Savage shouldn't even been starting at Pitt?
No, he shouldn't have been.
No. Well, I don't get it. He's a quarterback guru who has not made a good quarterback since Tom Brady. Good luck to him, though. Good luck.
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, it's funny that you say about that Houston Texans situation, because through the preseason, I really like what Watson's been able to do. And I think even if he isn't the game one starter, by midseason, he's going to be definitely the guy with the ball. They may just be trying to protect him a little bit, so to prevent the injuries that Mariota usually ends up getting, or Cam Newton, that why run him every single game when you can, if it looks like, hey, we have a chance to make the playoffs, you could put him in mid-year, and then he's only taking 50% of the shots as opposed to from day one. Also give him a little bit of time to acclimate into the offense. I mean, I'm one that I really don't like pushing that rookie quarterback in the starting role unless you absolutely have to. But if it's serviceable enough that you can make do with a lesser talented quarterback, then so be it, to give him time to learn the system and not throw him to the wolves where if he struggles at first, the fans aren't calling to get rid of him.
Well, just look, that's what happened with Ben Roethlisberger. The starter got hurt, I think, but he came in week 5, week 4. He didn't play the whole season, and then he went on a run. And you're right. Looking at that looking at that division, maybe that's the Texans' play. Get him some game reps. They can put him in late in games, even some more practice reps. Have him break down film. Maybe he even spells. Who knows? Maybe they do a quarterback platoon. You don't really see that in the NFL, though. But I don't know. It doesn't make any sense that you would have him there unless you're ready to get him to learn, or he's just not picking up the offense. Let's go ahead. We'll kick into our previews here on the AFC. We'll start with the AFC West. I think that's what we're doing first. Yes. So we had our picks again. These are not estimates. They're averages. So we get a bunch of people. We pull together what we think the wins are going to be. So if you looked at these, I'm going to be tweeting these out sometime this week before we do our playoff preview next week. But if you're looking at the win totals, they might not add up because it's a bunch of people's opinions, and we're averaging them out here. So for the guys listening at home, we have the Raiders, and I don't know what cities these teams belong to anymore. I think a couple of them are in Los Angeles, maybe one's in Vegas, who knows. The Raiders, though, 11 wins. We have them taking the West in the AFC, and we have the Chiefs at 9 wins, second. Broncos at 8. Those were both closer to about 8.5. I think the Chiefs rounded up and the Broncos rounded down. And then we had the Chargers all over the board. Some people were high on them. Some people were very low on them. But we have them with 6 wins. So I'll give my thoughts real quick. This division is kind of like a meat grinder in the AFC, if you can call it that, just because there's not really a superb team, but every team on this list could make a run. And I think that's a credit to coaching. Andy Reid has been a solid coach. I knocked him a bunch when he was with the Eagles, but he's going to get you wins, so you can't count them out. They're always going to be right there. The Chargers, it's a credit to Phillip Rivers. So the Chargers are going to go as Rivers goes, and he's been a great quarterback. The Broncos, they're still paying dividends based on their defensive picks a few years ago. Have a solid defense. I think when we look at fantasy, they're rated the number 1 defense overall. So defense wins you games. And then, of course, you have last year's darlings, the Raiders. And their season's going to depend on, is Carr coming back, and is he 100% healthy? And another variable is they have Marshawn Lynch now, right? So is he going to have a breakout year? Is he going to be able to replace Murray, who I think went to the Vikings? If I'm remembering correctly. So kind of 2 different style running backs. Are they going to be able to step back in? Normally after an injury like that, even Tom Brady suffered from it. You usually have a down year the next year. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough. I had everyone right around 9 wins, not because I think all these teams are average. I think they're just going to beat each other up. So we'll go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. You can kick it off this time again. What are your thoughts on the AFC West?
Yeah, I have similar opinions to you. I think the Raiders are going to win this division. I think they're the best team in the division. They're most well-rounded. They have a good quarterback. Like you said, we'll see if he can play up to the caliber he did last year. But they have a solid running back now. You have Amari Cooper. You have Crabtree still there or not?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so you have those two, and then you have Khalil Mack on defense, solid defense. They're going to win this division. Now, everyone else, this is where I don't know, because the Broncos have a good defense. I don't think they have a quarterback. I'm not sure what they're going to bring to the table. The Chiefs last year played the Steelers in the divisional round. I think they're another playoff team. The Chargers, I honestly don't know much what they have, but Phillip Rivers will win games. He's proven over his entire career. He will put the Chargers in contention, whether or not they're that great of a team. So I think the top of the division there is the Raiders. I'll probably go Chiefs, Broncos, then Chargers, because I really don't know what the Chargers are going to bring to the table this year, other than Phillip Rivers winning games. But I don't really know how much they have other than that.
Go ahead, Rick. What are your thoughts?
I would say the Raiders were my pick to win also the division. I would say this is my what-if team. What if last year Carr was healthy the whole entire freaking season? This team could have made a bigger run, could have went and faced either the Steelers or Patriots and came a good game. The team was way scaled back when you're on your third-string quarterback going into the end of the season to the playoffs when you're with losing McGloin, then you go to Cook. I mean, they were really scaled back in their playbook, what they could do. So I think this year, if Carr's healthy, easily make a run and easily beat up on this division. So Chiefs, I will say this. I have a very good defense. I think that'll continue through them. And I think Denver's going to depend a lot on that running game because I don't know who's going to be the quarterback and what all they're going to decide. In San Diego, I think I picked them only to have 3 wins this year. They're going to play in front of about 30,000 fans at home games because they're using the LA Galaxy Stadium, the MLS team stadium. So that's going to be great because there's college teams in Division One. I mean, every team in the NFL pretty much has almost double that amount of seats. I don't understand their move to LA to go play in a soccer stadium. So, but whatever. Best of luck to them. 4th place is going to look good for you. And I think you're going to regret not staying in San Diego because those people love that team. So sad to say that. So, but good luck to everyone. I think this is the Raiders division to take home.
Matt, what do you think?
I think that the pressure on Carr coming back has been eased by them picking up Marshawn Lynch. I think that was a huge pickup for them because now they're not so much, and it's not a knock on Latavius Murray, but I mean, he's not Marshawn Lynch. And the things that with their duo running scheme where they're getting double teams on the front line, and it looks similar to an inside zone type look that is perfect for him to run in. It's similar to what he ran in Seattle, where he can just get downhill and use his leverage and power ahead. I mean, it works perfectly for him. The team that I kind of think about as if they can stay healthy is your San Diego team. I mean, the issue that they've always had is their entire receiving core always ends up getting injured within the first 3 weeks of the year. So, I mean, their first round draft pick was Mike Williams, and he has ankle injuries already. So it's like, can he stay healthy? Can they get Keenan Allen through a full season? Can Tyrell Williams and Travis Benjamin, can they stay healthy? If you have those guys and they can continue to stay healthy, give Phillip Rivers some options here at wide receiver and some consistency of playing with guys. Who knows what that offense looks like? They went out and made a deal with Seattle to pick up Russell Okung, so they have a little bit better protection there on the blind side for Phillip Rivers. And they got a lot of fantasy production out of Melvin Gordon last year. He looks to continue that trend. So I think if maybe he stays healthy, maybe they're a team that surprises some people. But I think you still have, it's the Raiders division, and they're looking like a second pony compared to them.
Yeah, I think the Chargers, I don't understand their move. I don't understand any of these teams' moves to LA. LA, you're getting a TV market. That's it. And I don't think these owners realize that. That's why you have teams move there and then move away. You're not going to get the fan support. West Coast doesn't care about football. You're looking at the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't. You have Seattle, maybe San Francisco, but those other LA or California teams just haven't had it, other than the Raiders. But I think the Raiders was more of a national appeal, not so much of just the LA or Oakland region. And you're flooding it with 3 teams at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. I know the Raiders are moving to Las Vegas. I don't know when that's going to happen, but Phillip Rivers, I do feel bad for him. He's like a Dan Marino light. Not as stat heavy as Marino was, but he's in a worse situation. And every year, it's kind of like they're just okay. They're kind of like the Pirates. They know they're going to get a certain amount of wins, hover around 500, and that just seems to be okay. So he's going to just rot out there and die. Moving to LA doesn't change that. So we'll go ahead and shift to the NFC West. This division is the haves and haves not. For me, you have the Seahawks and the Cardinals. That's it. Only 2 teams with a chance for me, and I'll read down through these for the listeners at home. Seattle Seahawks we have with 10 wins. They're pretty consistent. The Cardinals, we had some people go up and down, but they ended up at 8 wins. Rams were all over the board. Their average was 5 wins for us, and then the 49ers were in the basement with 3 wins. I'll start with the Niners. I like the 49ers growing up. It was rare to have a successful left-handed quarterback, and I always cheered for Steve Young. And growing up, being a left-handed guy, he was my role model. Love Steve Young. He helped carry the 49ers franchise on, and then they just kind of abandoned everything. And they've been pretty much in the gutter with the Browns. Those are the only 2 teams that you know outside of the Harbaugh years, which they definitely sabotaged him. And I'm glad that it came back to bite them in the ass, where they were saying that Harbaugh was the reason all these players were upset. But if you look at that roster, I actually read it researching this. When Harbaugh left, the 49ers had 5 guys retire. 5 guys that would have stayed if Harbaugh stayed. And these were guys like Frank Gore, he left. He didn't retire, but he left. They left a bunch of guys for no reason other than they just didn't trust the ownership anymore. When you have a successful head coach and you get rid of them, you're down. I have them at 1 win. We had them at 3 overall. They're done. Chip Kelly came in, and I think Chip Kelly is a great offensive guru. He should have at least been able to get them more wins than whatever he got. And they fired Harbaugh for Tom Sula or whoever. Got them basically, whatever. They're garbage. I don't know how anyone can support them. They're worse than the Pirates, so I can get all frustrated with the Pirates and call their owner a liar. But the San Francisco 49ers, I don't understand. And to top it off, as I was researching this, I also found an article. They raised their ticket prices. Get the fuck out of here. You raise your ticket prices after your team has been in a shithole since you ran your coach out of town. There's no reason anyone should support them. No reason. Then, at the bottom with them, I have the Rams. Same thing. They abandoned all their fans in St. Louis to go into a crowded market in LA. They might have fans in the stadium for a few games, but in LA, there's much more there's a ton of different things you can do. You're not going to be sitting watching a 3-13 team or whatever they end up going. You're just not. They're not going to have any fans in those seats. They're going to be completely empty. I'm sure the NFL, are they going to do what they do with the ACC championship game and tarp off the upper deck? Who knows? Is that going to be a thing? Because that's what's coming to LA whenever you have the Chargers. That's why, Rick, the Chargers are in that small stadium. It won't look empty. So, good luck to those LA teams. Good luck to the 49ers. It's going to be another bad season. I feel bad for their fans because I know they do have a great fan base. And at this point, you're up against Seattle, who's a class fan base, and Class A, and now these other teams. It's basically Seattle's division. Cardinals intrigue me. I think they have a chance at a wild card. Could they go far? It's basically up to Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer, to me, I thought he was going to be the guy. Out of USC, I've always waited for him to hit his potential, And when he hurt was it his knee or his ankle with the Bengals that year?
Chemo.
Yeah, against the Steelers, that pretty much derailed his career. And I hate for someone to go out in an injury like that. And I want him to come back and be successful. I know the Steelers won't face him unless they're in the Super Bowl again. Steelers beat Kurt Warner. Don't forget that. But Carson Palmer, I want him to do well. He was hyped up. He was doing so great. Had an injury. I hate to see a guy go out like that. I would like to see the Cardinals, especially because they have hometown hero Larry Fitzgerald out there. I would like to see them make a good run before he has to retire. But that's it. I think the Seahawks are going to win this division. Pete Carroll, not many coaches can win at the college and NFL level. Compare Pete Carroll's NFL record to Nick Saban's, and then talk about who's the best coach is, because I know ESPN talks about Saban all year long. There's no comparison. Pete Carroll is the guy. So until he's gone, you just have to pick the Seahawks every year. Go ahead, Jeff. What are your thoughts?
I got a lot of thoughts on this division. I think you stated it perfectly. You have the people who have a chance and the people who don't have a chance. I haven't really decided who I think is going to win this division yet. I'm really torn between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are actually my sleeper team in this division. I think if the Cardinals get hot, like you said, Carson Palmer comes through, makes the big plays when he needs to, I think they can win the Super Bowl, actually. Like, my favorite teams right now in the NFC are the Packers and the Cardinals. I know I'm really biased. I love Larry Fitzgerald. I've always been a fan of Carson Palmer. They have your boy, David Johnson, at running back. Their defense is solid. You have Honey Badger back there making plays. He can make plays on special teams. I think they have a great dynamic. I love their head coach. Bruce Arians was the former offensive coordinator of the Steelers. A lot of former Steeler coaches, went to Arizona. I think they're still on the staff, if I remember correctly. I'm really, really big on the Cardinals. And unfortunately, you said it perfectly. I think Carson Palmer might have had a different career if it wasn't for Kemon Volhoffen, or whatever you say his name, a couple years ago in that wild card game. They could have won the Super Bowl that year. They easily could have beat the Steelers in that wild card game. Steelers win, pick up some momentum, end up winning the Super Bowl as a 6th seed. The Bengals were favored in that game. I think that derailed his career. I don't know. I really like the Cardinals. I would love to see them make a Super Bowl. Larry Fitzgerald's last hurrah, because I don't think he's got many years left. This is probably it for Larry Fitzgerald. He'll probably retire after this year. Flipping notes now to the Seahawks. Pete Carroll is easily probably my favorite coach of all time. I actually just started reading his book, Win Forever. Amazing book. I'm a big fan of Russell Wilson. I don't know necessarily whether they're going to have a running game this year or not, but Russell Wilson has proven year in and year out now he can win games. The defense is still pretty good. Quite not the Legion of Boom I remember from a couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl, but they're going to be good. And then you start talking about the other guys, the Rams and the 49ers. Oh, my God, are they bad. I don't know how many. They might win 5 games between both teams. I'm not really sure. The only person I like on either team is Aaron Donald. He's a pick guy for the Rams. He's currently holding out too. So their best player on their entire team is a D lineman who's not even shown up for camp. And I think they made a big mistake a couple years ago. I don't know if it was 2 years ago or exactly when they let go of Jeff Fisher. I've always thought Jeff Fisher was a pretty solid coach. He never really took. I don't know if he was the head coach when they played the Rams in the Super Bowl. Back in, was that 99? I don't know if he was the coach then, but he's won a lot of games throughout his career. And
none that mattered.
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't won the big one. And just, saying a little bit about the Rams, growing up, they were my team. I never admitted to anyone that I really liked. They're the greatest show on turf. Marshall Faulk, growing up, man, he could run the football. And he's also on the backfield. Actually, if 7th grade football, I wore 28 because of Marshall Faulk. But that's all I got in that division. They're not going to win 5 games between the two of them. I just have to get my Marshall Faulk love out there, especially because with the whole CTE thing, he's publicly said multiple times that concussions aren't real, and he never had one his entire life. So that guy's an animal.
Oh, I can't take it anymore. Go ahead,
I
Rick.
believe he's also said that dinosaurs aren't real, too, in his life. I think he said that on NFL Network, that dinosaurs weren't real, even though we're finding bones. They're not real. I think 49ers, congratulations. You're probably going to get in the top 3 of NFL draft picks coming up here, so congratulations to you. I think the reason why they raised ticket prices is to pay John Lynch to come in. That NFL second team job, at Fox, to lure him in, Be the general manager. We got nothing. Try your best, Rams, welcome to L.A. again, a part of the L.A. movement. Best of luck to you. A lot of people will be leaving in the third quarter. Next up, then we'll have the Cardinals. Again, being a Steeler fan, it's great to see guys like, go out there and have second careers that are former Steelers. I think Larry Fitzgerald's last year if they don't make the playoffs. So, in one day, he'll be in Canton, and congratulations to him on a great career and being a great person as well. He means a lot to those people in Arizona and the Phoenix area. Does a lot of charity work and everything. Those people love him out there. They'll probably have a statue outside next to the only other statue, which is Pat Tillman. So, and then for the last one will be the team that will win the division as well will be Seattle. They got the best amount of players on the team. They have the best head coach in the division, and they have the best quarterback, I believe, in the division as well. I think those are some very possible stats. They have lost some guys on the defense over the years since they've been in the Super Bowl, 2 free agency. But I think still overall they have a good team. They have a good front office, and it's just a good dynamic. I think Pete Carroll and Jimmy Johnson are definitely 2 coaches that come to the mind that have won in college and that won in the pros. Those are 2 coaches that come to the top of my mind that have succeeded in both realms. So I think this is Seattle's to lose, just like I said. The Steelers division to lose, the Patriots division to lose, Seattle's division to lose. I think they got the best team, so I think they're going to win it. And I know these teams don't want to go play in Seattle. That stadium is insane. I think you want to try to beat them, but I hope if you face them at home, best of luck to you there.
All right, Matt, what are your thoughts?
Well, first off, it's great that a lot of these guys in Arizona are playing in Arizona because they're old, and it's a good place for retirement people. Carson Palmer, old. Larry Fitzgerald, old. The whole 2006 or 2005 Pittsburgh Steelers defense is there, old. Their coach recovering from cancer. It's a great place to retire. They can just enjoy being old and enjoying the warm weather. You got Seattle. Who's going to carry the ball for them? They can't make a living off Russell Wilson's arm. So they can only throw it to one guy. They'll throw it to Doug Baldwin, and as soon as they get double covered, there'll be nothing there. To me, the division runs through the L.A. or St. Louis or whatever the Rams are. The Rams are the team to beat in the division. They made that trade for Sammy Watkins. They're making moves, trying to get people. They got Gurley running the ball. He's been averaging close to 5 yards a carry in the preseason because those games matter to season ticket holders. They reeled in that awesome offensive coordinator from Washington to be their head coach. They got the youngest coach in the league, which when you have the youngest coach in the league, you're bound to do well. Ask the Rooney family. They know about hiring young coaches and making things work. So to me, you can say what you want about the Seahawks. The only good thing they did was they made concussion awareness and the hawk tackle famous. They're not winning the division. It's going to be the Rams with their old new fan base that's coming back to them. Since they were in LA to begin with, they brought it back. I think that with having an offensive coordinator coming in as your head coach, he's bringing some consistency. You're seeing some consistent play from Goff. And the other thing is, if something happens to Carson Palmer, is Blaine Gabbert really going to win the division for the Cardinals? No. So calm down. At some point, old Carson Palmer is going to fall apart, and you're going to have nothing to fall back on. David Johnson can jump out of as many swimming pools as he wants, but it's not going to get him a first down when it matters, when he has Blaine Gabbert handing him the football. So slow your roll.
Hey, I don't want him handing the football. I want them to swing it out to him so he gets that point per reception for me.
Oh, yeah. And he'll be spiking it off the ground. He'll be getting fumble points.
He can jump over guys, Matt. Did you see him jump out of that pool?
Yeah, he jumped out of a pool because that's a very transferable skill to football. Jump out of water.
He has to jump through all those tiers of LA fans whenever the Cardinals are spanking them 42 to 14. And the Rams are like, we moved here for this. And they look up and they see no one's there. No one except for, which guy's the actor? Jack Nicklaus or Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson.
The only way the Cardinals beat them is if they beat them with their walkers and wheelchairs as they're hobbling around the field.
I don't think the Rams can win a game when their quarterback can't throw the ball more than 20 yards downfield, Matt.
Screen pass to Watkins, baby. Learn from the Bills. Screen pass and goes. As long as he stays healthy, Rams.
So for 6 games, Rams is what you're saying?
Yeah.
6 games might be enough to win that sorry division. So,
hey, it doesn't matter. The Seahawks, they win by defense. They're like the old Steelers with Chuck Noll. Just kick a field goal. They don't need to have running backs controlling the game, Matt.
they don't have House Guy anymore. He's gone, so they can't even rely on their field goal kicker.
They have Doug Baldwin. He'll sneak right through.
He's not a field goal kicker. How are they going to chuck no field goal?
Wait, didn't they get Blair Walsh? Who has Blair Walsh? Did you guys see that?
Blair Walsh is with Seattle. I had to look it up.
Yeah, see? They got the Vikings kicker, and I heard he was taunting the Vikings bench after he kicked the field goal because the Vikings, remember, he missed that field goal in the playoffs. They cut him.
Yes.
So that's my prediction. Blair Walsh is going to kick a game-winning Super Bowl field goal against, maybe not the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship game against the Vikings, just so that their fans are going to cry so hard because I've read a bunch of comments how their fans are mad that he got cut from one field goal because he is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Well,
He's got a big leg on him, too.
Let's use that as a segue because we're wrapping up here. We'll go into fantasy. We're on kickers and defense. No values because I think everyone's valued at $1 or around $1. So these are just the top defenses. If you go on any draft board, I put all 15 up here, but it's basically Broncos, Seahawks, Chiefs, Texans, Vikings, Patriots, Cardinals, Panthers, Bengals, Jaguars, Giants, Chargers, Titans, Ravens, Steelers. So Broncos at top with that Seahawks second. Seahawks top defense in the NFC. These are all dollar picks, so recommended pick them late in the draft. Do you guys even pick up one or two? I think normally whenever I have a bye week, I just pick up whoever's on free agency list. That seems to be my strategy. And the kickers, same deal. They have Justin Tucker. He's kicker for the Ravens is number 1. Matt Bryant for the Falcons. Gostkowski for the Patriots. Vinatieri, he's still alive, I guess. He's with the Colts. Dan Bailey for...
They don't ever have to use them, though.
That's because Andrew Luck's always hurt.
Yeah.
Dan Bailey, then for the Cowboys. Matt Prater, Lions. Santos for the Chiefs. That's a good pickup probably because Andy Reid's not going to be scoring the ball too much. Mason Crosby for the Packers. Hopkins. I mean, you can just look it up. It's basically grab whoever's hot. Blair Walsh is on this list, though, at 15. So put that out there because, like Matt said, Seattle, who knows if they're going to be able to run the ball. And I'm telling you, he's going to beat the Vikings. Might not be in the NFC Championship game, but he's going to field goal them to death if they meet in the playoffs. And I'm going to laugh so hard. So my strategy, I wait till last minute. I actually picked up my kicker on free agency because who did I have last year? Maybe it was Tucker. I picked up someone who was having an outrageous year. He was actually number 1 in points through like week 3, and no one picked him up because I think people, they value guys that they draft, and they have a hard time letting go because they're like, well, no, why would I draft that guy? As soon as I cut him, he's going to have an awesome week. So I think people are just afraid how I play defenses and kickers, cut them. Who cares? I mean, if they're doing bad, cut your losses. Don't be nostalgic or hold on to your value and be afraid of making a cut because the guy who you scouted can you even scout these guys in fantasy? You're not really scouting. You're just listening to whatever they tell you to do on ESPN, if you're being honest. So cut your guy. If he sucks, cut him. You can always pick him back up. Most people in your league aren't going to be picking up kickers every week. So I use that as my advantage. I usually flow through, get a couple different kickers, couple different defenses, and I'll warn you, if you play auction like we do, when your budget's out, you're out. So when you're stuck with that Eagles D getting you minus 17 points every week, you either have to play no D or just wing it. And whenever you do wing it and they score 20 points the next week and win you that championship, you can be happy that you didn't bench them. So we'll go ahead, guys. Jeff, what are your thoughts on defenses and kickers?
Basically, every year I pick, a defense that I feel is going to be pretty good for you. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but I'll probably be looking to pick up, the Cardinals. The Panthers D was good a couple years ago. The Steelers D is usually good. I mean, they might not be good this year after getting burnt like they did in the preseason game, the secondary. But I usually rotate the same defenses year in, year out. Usually, I don't know. I basically go with that approach. I pick a good D, I stick with them until, like you said, a bye week. Then I cut my losses, pick up someone new, whoever's on the market, essentially. But with kickers, I basically go after the best offenses. So if you guys want a good kicker, you might as well go after the Falcons kicker. They're going to score a lot of points. Green Bay is going to score a lot of points. Pittsburgh this year is going to score a lot of points. Basically, I go after kickers who are going to be on good offenses, teams that are going to be in the red zone consistently, give you the opportunity to pick up a few points here and there. But I don't know. I agree with you. You basically just got to go week to week. If your guy's not doing so hot, cut your losses, because at the end of the day, there's plenty of kickers out there, and they're going to have ups and down weeks as they go, But that's just my opinion on it. I'll probably be trying to pick up the Cardinals defense this year, Matt, because I know they're going to be towards the top of that division.
Oh, yeah. Like winning the silver medal in the Special Olympics.
Go ahead, Matt. You can continue.
But the thing is, it's a good strategy because most people are having the same mindset that you do, that, hey, pick up whoever you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But, it does to a certain extent. If you can get yourself one or two decent defenses, you budget your money appropriately. Most people don't put in an auction style league, they're not putting defenses up right away. So you can walk away with potentially a Texans defense and a Patriots defense. You could get two of them for relatively cheap, and then you can find which one's the better matchup. I mean, if you take, say, New England and you take the Texans, one of them are going to play a garbage team every week. So you can pick which dumpster fire you want them to go up against, and you know that their offenses are going to potentially be able to put up enough points that the defense is going to help you out and get points. So it's an easy way that, maybe you don't hit on the receivers or the running backs, you can cash in during your defenses. And I think another thing with the kickers, look for teams that are going to have the strong defenses, because you're going to have the opportunities that a field goal can win it. I know when Hauschka was with Seattle, before their offense completely fell apart and they had to rely on Mr. P90X, Eddie Lacy, they were field goaling teams to death. He would average 12 points a game because they'd win games 12-0 and kick field goals.
All right, Rick, what are your thoughts?
I like to take kickers to play in domes. 8 games, you don't have to worry about weather conditions. I also like taking kickers in the South. So Texans, Tampa, warm weather teams. I don't like these cold weather kickers outside. Don't like it at all. Detroit's okay, dome team. But so that's my thought on kickers. Defenses, I like it with teams that are very good. Patriots, who are going to play their division. That's could go 6-0. Steelers, another team that could go 6-0, Rams, or I'm hearing, could go 6-0, so, maybe look at those teams because they can beat up on those divisions. Get whatever that was. I put a keeper on Todd Gurley. I feel good about myself right now, so, wow, I'm probably going to win the league. I should just take my championship and go home. But, yeah, defenses of teams that play weak divisions. So that's my keys of facts that I use.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We'll go through our final thoughts. My final thoughts, I'm going to stick with fantasy. Definitely don't listen to what Rick said about indoor kickers and stuff. But I'll give you an actual advice. Check the schedule. If you draft a dome kicker who has a 3-week stretch in your playoffs up against New England, it's not going to do you a lick of good. So look at the guy's schedule. Also, defenses, go with your heart. Who gives a shit? A lot of people say, oh, I don't play fantasy football. It makes me root against my team. Pick your team. Pick your team defense. Then at least you can root for them every week, unless your team is playing in the playoffs for your league against the Falcons or someone who's going to tear them up. Or if the defense you like is the 49ers because they're not stopping anyone, and possibly the Browns, although I might be a little positive on them after their preseason performance. So we'll go ahead. You guys give your final thoughts. Kick it off, Jeff.
All right, my final thoughts today. I know one strategy that I wanted to mention, I forgot to, with defenses. Basically pick any team that's playing the Jaguars or the Browns. My one friend taught me that strategy a couple years ago. It doesn't work in an auction draft like ours, but if you work, if you have a league where it's, snake draft, a normal draft, why don't you just pick up whoever's playing those two teams? Because you know what? They're going to score a lot of points. That's my final thoughts on the defense and kickers. But I also want to give another jab / little bit of hate here to Penn State. How in the world did they, but the AP poll put them 6th in the country? They're the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. They're not the 6th best team in the country. I know for a fact they're going to lose to Ohio State. Let's just put that. I'll put so much money out they're going to lose to Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State, but they're going to lose to them. Michigan, probably going to beat them. Hell, they might even lose to Pitt at home this year. So I could see Penn State go 9-3 this year. They're not the 6th best team in the country. There's way more teams that deserve a 6th ranking in the country. So shout out to the Penn State Colt. You're not going to make the playoffs this year.
All right, Rick, we'll go with you, Penn State man.
I think 6 is a fair pick, and I think a realistic pick. I mean, they got tough teams on the schedule. Georgia State's on the schedule this year. Akron, these are tough teams. Didn't even know Georgia State had a football team until I saw it on the schedule this year. So I think they're going to be fine. I'm not worried. I think Ohio State's going to be the tough game because it's an away game. Pitt had some players suspended for their game, so that may help out Penn State. So, and they have to come to Penn State and play in front of 100,000 fans that are probably going to be wearing, probably it's going to be a whiteout that day. Other facts I just want to say is Angel Hernandez and other Major League umpires protested wearing white wristbands because of players taunting and everything else. I'm sorry. What? This is just ridiculous. I don't get it. Eric Burns is one of the forerunners for this, and I hope Eric Burns, we can hashtag him, but he is one that wants videos just to do it, get rid of umpires. And they have done it in different levels, doing videos and getting rid of umpires and just doing video relays to say balls and strikes and safe and out. So it's a weird thought, but that's what he wants to do. I don't understand the protest. Angel Hernandez is voted one of the worst umpires every year. And I looked through Twitter. I saw 100 comments saying that he was a terrible umpire. I couldn't find one that said, Angel Hernandez, great umpire. Couldn't find it. Still looking for that comment. Ian Kinsler said he should look for another job. So there are other jobs available out there. So, I mean, I'll start this already. Cole Tucker, Pirates prospect, will be reporting to Arizona Fall League. They haven't announced the rosters yet, but you could pretty much knock that in as a guarantee, 99% sure that will happen after conversations I have had with Pirates and Pirate front office that will be a thing. So you'll get to see him play in games in October, but in Arizona.
All right, Matt?
Knowles come in at 3. Would have liked to seen him a little bit higher, but we'll take that. And then hopefully we just make the jump after knocking off Alabama. So business as usual.
If they lose, how far do you think they're going to fall?
Oh, they'll probably fall off the map. But I think the thing that I would be more worried about, but just because.
Yeah, but it's Alabama. You would think they wouldn't fall at all.
You would think, but there's such a bias with ESPN and the AP that if they lose, I would say they would probably fall to like 12 or 11. They'd jump all the Big Ten and SEC schools that were ranked below them. They would all get a jump up. The thing that I would say with that opening weekend, though, is if Michigan loses to Florida after all of the players on Florida's team get suspended for credit card fraud, do they fall like out of the top 100?
Hey, Jim McElwain came out and he said this week that they are going to crush Michigan or something like that. I might be paraphrasing, but he said they're going to beat the heck out of Michigan or something like that. Look that up. I've seen that was a real quote. I've seen some of our players at Michigan say that they're going to use that as bulletin board material. So keep an eye out on that. But that's it for this week. Check us back next week. We're going to go through and put together all these previews and do a playoff preview. Follow us on Twitter, S-Bound Sports. Everything else, we're Southbound Sports. And thanks for watching and listening at home. And we'll see you next week.